So, not a lot of you know my story, but I thought it would be helpful for you to hear today if you are struggling with your relationship with food to know that you are not alone. I am extremely passionate about helping the women I help to heal their relationships with food because I have been there. I know what it's like to have a stressful relationship with food. And I wish that I had had somebody who knew what I was going through, who could walk alongside me. So, I was a binge eater. Every single night I would binge eat. I struggled with orthorexia, which is an unhealthy obsession with clean eating. I was working in the fitness industry for almost 10 years. And so there's a lot of pressure working in the fitness industry to look a certain way, to eat a certain way. My clients would come to me wanting meal plans. And so there was a lot of pressure for me to be on it when it comes to nutrition and exercise. So I kind of took that pressure to an extreme. I ended up over-exercising. I ended up being very rigid about my eating, always trying to eat clean, and inevitably that just ended up being unsustainable. And so I developed binge eating disorder because I could not maintain that level of rigidity around food, rigidity around my exercise. And so I kind of swung to the other direction, which was binge eating. But I sought out like a dietitian to help me. And she prescribed me a meal plan, and ultimately that just made matters worse. She didn't know. I mean, it wasn't that she was intentionally causing harm. But what that did was just give me another set of rules around food, another set of rigid restrictions that were like, eat this, don't eat this, eat at these times, don't at these times, don't eat at these times. And that was what was getting me into trouble in the first place with food, was that I was like, okay, so there's all of these rules, feeling like I could never get it right. And then also that robbed me of my autonomy. I was like, okay, so there's all these external rules that I need to follow, but where's my freedom of choice? Usually disordered eating and eating disorders are rooted in a lack of freedom of choice. And so what I ultimately found was a professional who would teach me how to trust myself around food so that I could go the rest of my life not seeking out the next diet, the next meal plan, the next practitioner who would teach me how to feed myself. I could learn how to do it for myself. Trusting myself to make those decisions, to have an internal guidebook, to be able to self-regulate, that is the end goal. That's how you heal your relationship with food permanently. And you have to learn about food psychology too, like what is causing you to feel out of control around food. And if you feel out of control around food, it is not your fault. You do not need to feel shame over this. I wish that I had had a practitioner tell me, hey, here's the reasons why you're binge eating. And it actually makes a lot of sense. Usually there's a couple things. Food restriction, dieting will cause binge eating. Mental restrictions around food, so having rigid rules and restrictions, lots of rules around like good, bad foods will cause binge eating. Unmet needs will cause binge eating, just to name like top 3. But all of these, binge eating, it's a coping mechanism. It's a compensatory response. It's an attempt to get needs met to create safety. So, it's actually, in the grand scheme of things and in comparison, relatively speaking, it's a pretty benign coping mechanism and it's pretty adaptive. And it can be an effective Band-Aid, but what we realize is using food in this way long-term doesn't serve us and ends up just causing more distress. But I hope that me like kind of pinpointing for you today, here are some reasons, like legitimate, valid reasons why we feel out of control around food. I hope that makes you feel like, oh, okay, so it's not that you lack self-control or discipline or willpower around food. There are some, I guarantee like 99.9% of the time when I speak to a new client, we can pinpoint like quickly, like, oh, this is exactly why you're binging. It makes a lot of sense. Here's what we can do to fix it. There's always something we can do to fix it. This is not beyond repair. You are not a lost cause. I don't care for how long you've been struggling with binge eating. I don't care for how long you've been dieting, for how long you've been struggling with your relationship with food. There's always hope. I work with clients age 25 to 65 and everywhere in between. And it is so possible for you. It is so possible for you, yes, you too, to heal. Because I speak with women who come in who are like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know how we're going to do this. I've tried so many things. They're jaded. They're like, I've tried so many things. And then a couple weeks in, they're like, if you would have told me 6 weeks ago that I would be where I am now, I wouldn't have believed you. And all it takes is the proper support, the proper accountability, the proper guidance, and the proper tools. So anyway, I'm here for you guys. And if you need anything, let me know. You can apply for a call on my website if you want to chat and just see what we could do to maybe facilitate some next steps for you. If you're like, you know what, I need to get a handle on this. It doesn't mean we have to work together. I'm more than happy to just give you resources or guide you towards that next thing. So you can apply for a call with me. I do have 3 spots open for November. For one-on-one coaching. And now is a really good time to deal with your relationship with food, start healing, because Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, all of this stuff that's about to come up, you guys, it's only going to make it harder for you. There's going to be so much food around. There's going to be lots of pressure from diet culture to lose weight, to start the next diet plan program. This does not have to be a stressor for you this year. So feel free to send me a message, go to my website, apply for a call, reach out, whatever I can do for you. I am here for you. I love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this community. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.